What's up, guys? So real quick, just going over a watch list that I have going into this week. Tomorrow being what's tomorrow? August 18th. So I've got two setups that I want to look at going into this week. One is going to be PANW. The second one is going to be Roblox, PANW, and then RBLX, right? So I have multiple confluences on both of these tickers. I'll just be going over them very briefly here before the week starts tomorrow. All right, so Roblox here. We've got multiple confluences. Oh, yeah, I'm not paying for TradingView. Sorry. Say what you want. I'm cheap. I'm not paying for TradingView. Sorry. Anyway, so we have multiple confluences here. The first one, we'll be looking at the daily time frame, right? The daily time frame, we did close as a hammer candle, a green hammer candle. I know my candlesticks are white and black, but, you know, a bullish hammer candle, let's put it that way. Right off of support here, we have a major support zone, and when I run the the time frames down, you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about as far as the support zone goes. But we bounced right off support, which is the 111.82-ish. Let's just call it 112, right? Right around the 112 range, we bounced right off of it, and now we're back in this kind of range here. So Roblox, right? Ever since we broke, I want to say around 75, we've been in an upside bullish trend, right? So what is this? Okay, since we broke about 70, right? So this was a massive consolidation zone here between 48 up to about 75, 76-ish, give or take. We were just kind of like going sideways, right? Once we broke out of that, right around 76, give or take, we just went on a massive uptrend, right? So what we're looking at now is we do have a dip here. Dips usually get bought. That's usually what we're looking for. I know some people, especially the newer traders, they're always asking, how do we know when to buy the dip, right? So I'll go over that here shortly. The main answer to that is you want to look for around a 20, 25, maybe even 30% pullback on a very bullish stock. In this situation, we have a very bullish stock, which of course is Roblox. I mean, as you guys can see, non-stop ripper, right? And we finally have a pullback, right? Gap down, and now we're lower here. So how to, identify if it's a 25%, 20%, 30% pullback? Simple, right? If you guys are using TradingView, we're going to go over to the left side here, right? Use the measurement stick. Simple, right? And you're going to measure it down from the highs. All right, so our high of day on Thursday, July 31st, it looks like. We're just going to measure down, right? So pull this down. At the opening candle, which is right around here, was right around just under 25%. At the lows, looks like it's right over 25%. At the close of at the top of the candle, right, which is, Friday's close, we closed right at, down 22%. This is the textbook pullback that we can look to go long on, right? So let me see here. All right, so we do have the daily time frame we're looking at here. We do have this hammer candle right below resistance. So what I'm looking at going into Monday, I want to see a break above 118.51, give or take, this level right here, 118.50. I want to see a break above this. We can look to target continuation for upside. I do have a target for actually 125-ish. That's going to be the previous resistance, or I guess major, put it that way, major resistance. Also, that's going to be a previous week low. Now, if you want to take longer dated contracts, you could possibly look to target, the 29, 30-ish range if you want to. But that's going to be strictly up to you. I'll be looking at August 29th, 130 calls. On those 130 calls, there's where's my phone at? Here, give me 1 second here, guys. I think the 130. All right, guys, real quick, my audio did cut out. I don't know what's going on with my AirPods, but I don't know. The audio was it was fucked. Let's put it that way. So I'll be recording from my iPhone for the rest of the way out here. All right, so like I mentioned before, we're going to be looking for
The 100, I think we're looking at $130 contracts or $130 strike for the September 29th expiration on these contracts. Now, what we're looking at here is obviously you don't have to absolutely get in the money on these 130s. I do not expect them to get in the money. What we're doing here is we're scalping what's called the premiums, right? We're scalping the premiums on these contracts with a bullish move upside. Right, so once we break that, I think it's 118, give or take, that we're looking at here. 118.5, 118.4, give or take, which is a previous support, as you guys can see, you know, on this chart here. Once we break that, I'll be looking to target first resistance. First target, 121.27, and then second target, 125. That's where I'll look to trim out of all, if not majority, positions. If you do want to hold runners, you can, but I advise very strongly, if you're going to hold runners, go down to like one or two, maybe even 3 runners, right? But don't hold like fucking 5, 6, 7 runners just because you have a large account. That's stupid, because you're probably going to, you know, go back down to 0 if we reject right around that spot. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is run down to the 30-minute time frame here. On the 30-minute time frame, here's our second confluence here, right? We have, and that's that support zone I was telling you guys about, right? You see that blue line at that demand zone and that green discount zone that I have from Lux Algo, right? That's going to be our support that we bounce off of that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, right? At the 30-minute time frame, we have what's called an ascending triangle. I know some of you guys hear me mention the ascending triangle all the time. It's one of my favorite setups, right? So that's going to be our second confluence, is the ascending triangle here on the 30-minute. Same thing. If we're looking for, like I said, the 2-week contracts, we can actually look for a break above Friday's high, right? Look for a break above Friday's high. And then we're still going to have our targets, right? The 121.2, 121.3, give or take. And then the 125, 124.50, 125, right? Take profit as you see fit at that point. Right, these that first target at 121 will probably be up at least, you know, 70%, 100% at that target alone. So right around that 125 target, we're looking at 200, 300%, give or take, if, you know, we get the move that we're looking for here, right? So that's it for Roblox. Now on to PANW. All right, so for PANW here, we have textbook falling wedge on 30-minute time frame here, right? I know I played some 0 DTEs on this. I think it was on Friday. We got the bullish breakout. We also had an ascending triangle inside of that falling wedge, which is double confluence for me. However, right, so we got that breakout here. I'm running it down to the 1 hour and the 4 hour, right? Multiple confluences here: 30-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour. Both falling wedge. We broke out of it. We broke resistance, right? Came back, retested it as support, and then continued higher. Now, for PANW, I'm zooming in here. My first target on PANW, I'll be looking to go, I know I have it on my watch list somewhere. All right, so for PANW, what we're looking to do is we're actually looking to go long over this 177.10, which is going to be, or we can do 177.4 or 177.8. That's going to be the previous day high, right? That's going to be Thursday's high, not Friday's high. Thursday's high. Over that, we look to target 180, right? Over 180, we're going to look to target the 186. We do have a gap to fill. Right? So that 180 is going to be our first target. 186 is going to be our second target. And then our gap fill is going to be at 193, right? So with that, what we're going to do is same thing, right? You know, target 180, 0.03. Yeah, 180, right? What we're going to do is we're going to look for the first trim, right? We're going to trim down to about 50% of our positions. Those contracts alone should be up probably around 40, 50%, right? And we're going to let the runners fucking run, right? 186, right? We're going to look to trim down to another third, right? And we're going to let our runners run. You know, this one we can probably use about three to four runners, depending on the size of your account. right? 3 to 4 runners, we can look for that gap fill. But for PANW, what we're looking at is we're looking at the 210 calls, right? 210 calls for September 5th, right? Those have a very tight spread. I think I'm looking at right around 0.05 or 5 cents on the spread on those. So we can actually use those to our advantage if we catch a fast rip upside. Right, so we'll be looking at that. Second thing is, I know we do have earnings coming up on Monday after market close. With earnings after market close, the thing is, with us buying these September 5th contracts, if we get our favored move to the upside, and we're not going to really have that IV crush situation to worry about as if we would, buying weeklies or 2 weeks out, right? I'm looking at the IV on these September 5th 210s. IV is right around 40%, right? Which is next to nothing. That's a typical IV for your regular contracts. That's what we want to look for, right? If you look at the weeklies in the 2 weeks, 2 weeks out, those IVs are well over 70%, well over 90% for the weeklies, right? Those are going to get IV crushed. Even if the move goes in our favor, unless we have like a massive, I'm not sure what the implied move is on PANW just yet. We'll find out closer to the closing on tomorrow. But whatever that move is, if we don't beat that implied move and we still get a move upside, we're gonna be golden. We're gonna be good, right? Whereas the weeklies or the 2 weeks, those are gonna be, if they don't beat the implied move, those things are gonna be down 40%, 60%, 70% at the open, no matter what. Even if we do get a massive gap up, that implied move has to get beat for those shorter dated contracts, right? So that's why it's important to look at IV when you're trying to play in earnings. I'm not trying to play earnings here. However, earnings just happens to be our roadblock on this setup here. But the setup is still valid. I think no matter what, even if we do come down a little bit, we have enough time, right? We have enough time in order to, finish the move upside. All right, so the main thing I'm looking at right here is if we do reject this 186 level, it's a major level. I think that was, Wednesday, July 30th high. If we reject that level, we'll have what's called a cup and handle, right? I'm expecting if we do reject that level, we'll have a double top. We'll still have the U shape, but we'll have a double top, and then it'll kind of pull back a little bit right down to that 170, 180 to the 180-ish range, and then probably try to bounce off of that as previous resistance and bounce up. And we'll have a textbook cup and handle, and we can fill that gap upside. This is why the September 5th contracts are very prominent here and my main focus, right? So, like I said, roadblocks. What am I looking at for roadblocks? 130 calls 2 weeks out, August 29th. And then September 5th contracts, 210s for PANW. These are my setups. Let me know if you have any questions. Like, subscribe, and let's make some fucking money. Let's get it.